Yup, bendición. So I'm just chilling. This is a cigar I brought from DR. I want to do a video. It kind of piggybacks off of my last video, but there's three. It's in the same topic, but broken down into three parts, okay? Items pertaining to what goes in versus around versus decorative to your santo. So, the items that go inside of a sopera, the details of which, of course, I'm not going to get into. But I mean, other than the main consecrated elements that are the santo. And let's say it comes out in an odu, you have to add, I don't know, something, an item, a physical item. Or another good one is, let's say you have a path of Watala that takes maybe a sword, maybe a horse, something symbolic, a physical item that you go out and you purchase. If you put something inside of a sopera, then it should be consecrated at least, or at least with a certain substance. I'm not even gonna. I try really hard to mask my words because there's so much BS out there that exists that I don't even like getting into detail as to the proper names of certain items. But when you get the opportunity, have those actual items that you have consecrated at some point. A great example that I will give is like for, let's say for Obatala Obamoro. He's syncretized with Jesus Christ, with the Passion, and people don't do it today because everybody's like against the syncretism, but things that have to do with the Passion of Christ, or in my case, like Osagian, I could, if I wanted, I could get things that have to do with carpentry and place that inside of my Watala, because my Watala is syncretized with Saint Joseph. And those items that are placed inside should be properly consecrated in a specific manner. If not, then at least a specific substance placed on that item and then placed inside, because it's going to be living with the actual elements in the body of the santo. Now, what about the stuff that goes around? Let's say Obamoro. Old school is keeping a crown of thorns with your Obamoro, nails, wine, vinegar, everything associated with the Passion of Jesus Christ, because that's who he's associated with or syncretized with. You do not have to consecrate those items. If it comes out that, okay, you have to keep a certain item outside of your santo, maybe a crown for Ochun. Nowadays, people, they get crowned, and it's a part of the... When you get crowned, anybody gets crowned, of any orisha, you'll receive Ochun, and a lot of times the crown comes with the santo anyways. In the old days, unless the santo asked for a crown, the santo did not have a crown. So if the santo asks for a crown, if you can help it, even though it's on the exterior of the sopera, if you can help it, one day have that specific item go through the specific process to consecrate it as it was asked for in Odu. The last thing is, if you simply want to decorate your Ochun, your Batala, whatever, you saw a beautiful fan, you saw a mermaid. A lot of people keep mermaid statues with their Yamaya, peacock feathers with their Ochun, mirrors, and all the items that a specific santo is going to be associated with. People will keep swords and double-headed axes with their chango. A lot of people keep these AI portraits of the santo. These items, it's just decoration, and there's nothing wrong with that. To each its own. Those items do not have to be consecrated in any way, shape, or form. It's just simply decoration. And I have my, if you see my last video, I have my orisha decorated. I have you know, like the so-called loro feathers. I have 4 of them on my obatala. If I can get 16 of them, great. But I'm not consecrating feathers. You know, there's certain things you don't consecrate. The little mazos, the beads that go around the santo for decoration, out of adoration and honor. A lot of people may gift their santo. I saw this beautiful mazo, and it was $800, and I promised Ochun I would get it if I got XYZ. And you get it, and it doesn't go through a process. You simply you put it to the santo. There's no, people will put like Florida water and holy water and maybe a certain substance that could be used, but if it's just decoration, it doesn't have to go through any process. It's just decoration. I literally just got a fan today. I went to the I went to the Salvation Army, but I went to the antique store, went window shopping. I saw a beautiful fan that I liked. It was red and yellow. Maybe I'll show it in a future video. I liked it a lot. I said, hey, my Ochun doesn't have a fan. And I remember seeing it a few weeks ago when I came, and I said, if I still want it, when I come back, if it's still here, then I'll pick it up. And that's what I did. I got a fan for Ochun. I don't have to put the fan through any process. If I get a mirror, if I get whatever for Ochun, I don't have to put it through any process. If I find an item that is that I want to put inside of my actual sopera of Ochun, and in actuality, you should not be putting something inside of a sopera simply because you want to. The santo should be asking for it, or it should pertain to the specific path of your santo. But there's nuances and exceptions to every rule. So I'm not even going to get into that. But for the most part, if something is going inside of a sopera, even Ogun, technically for, a lot of people, they love to keep, mad machetes and knives and guns and handcuffs. Yes, Ogun has an open vessel, but yes, because there's like an actual vessel inside, like a bowl where things go inside, that is the quote unquote sopera of Ogun. I think it's one out. We're good. We're good. If you're going to be adding those things, those items should be going through a specific process, or at least they should get a specific substance on them and then place inside. A lot of people just, they find a beaded Ogun machete and they put it to their Ogun. El Legua is a special case because you may be told in Odu to keep a flute with El Legua. Well, El Legua doesn't have a container. He's more open, but the exception being someone that's actually crowned El Legua. And so if I'm told, I have to keep a flute with my El Legua because I came out in Odu to keep a flute with my El Legua, for example, then I'm not. Can I consecrate said flute and have it go through a whole process? I could. It lays next to my El Legua. Maybe you get told you get, Obara Mei and El Legua, and you have to keep a pumpkin with your El Legua at all times. Keep a fresh pumpkin or a calabash with your El Legua. Are you gonna consecrate said pumpkin? No, you're gonna go to ShopRite, Walmart, whatever, or during Halloween time, you pick up a nice pumpkin. Maybe it's a flat one, and you put your El Legua right on top. Maybe your goon asks for it, so you put the pumpkin right on top of the actual orisha. A lot of people, if it's a flat pumpkin, maybe you keep the orisha on top of the pumpkin if it's big enough. I've seen that. And so like the base is the pumpkin, and then the santo sits on top. Or if the sopera's opening is big enough, maybe you have to keep a pumpkin with Ochun at all times. Maybe you got Obaramei in Ochun, so you got to keep a pumpkin with your Ochun, and maybe it's just a large sopera, so you take off the top and you put an actual pumpkin or 5 right on top on a plate, and that's it. That's how you keep your Ochun. Totally acceptable, but you're not going to be consecrating these items. So there's a difference between what goes inside of a consecrated santo versus what is outside of a consecrated santo if it asks for it via odu, via path. And then the third is simply because you, how I say, like, porque tú tienes la gana. Like, you feel like it. You, the same way I bought a fan for Ochun. I've never had a fan for Ochun, so I bought a fan for Ochun. There's no process for me to do it. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna get the negative energies away because it was at an antique shop, and I'm gonna smoke it with some cigar smoke. I'm gonna spray some holy water on it. I'm gonna put Florida water on it. None of that is necessary. I mean, if you wanted to, I guess. It's not like gonna harm anything, but because it's just on the outside of the santo. But it's not necessary to quote unquote like cleanse an item that you put to the santo. I mean, I got feathers that I put to my batala, and they sit right on top, and they look like little loro feathers. I didn't do nothing. I plucked them off of the necklace from the Salvation Army that they came from, and I put the 4 feathers that are they're there on my batala. And then the 5th feather, I'm gonna try and like maybe put on this hat or something, and have it on there and have a nice little accent on my hat. There's no process that it has to go through. But now at this point, I'm just ranting. So items that go inside of the sopera versus items that go outside of the sopera, and items that are outside of the sopera simply for decoration, simply because you wanted to get it. How many people keep AI photos, and a lot of people keep these statues, like the little elegua, the black man, the little naked black man, and he has like an elegua on his head, and a lot of people keep that with their elegua. That's perfectly fine. There's no like consecration of a statue. No, just I have a picture of Saint Joseph with my watala. I have a picture of Mater Dolorosa or La Dolorosa to my Yemaya. There's no process for me. It sits on top of the sopera. Did my Yemaya ask for such a depiction? No, but my Yemaya is syncretized with that specific Virgin Mary, so I put that there because I wanted to, and that's my expression of Santo. It may be different from yours. So, if you're putting something inside, if you can, consecrate it. Talk to your godparent about that. Or make the specific elements and substances, and then go through the process of actually consecrating whatever items, because you don't need to be in Oriate. That's a whole video unto itself. There's a lot of stuff that you do not need to be in Oriate to do. But because a lot of people don't know how to do certain things, they call in an Oriate for everything, and that's perfectly fine as well. That's a whole topic unto itself. And now I'm just ranting. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day and a wonderful night. Peace out.